Hello, year 13. Happy New Year. Welcome back. So as you will have seen from Mr. Huckle and my emails over the past few days, your homework for the week of the 11th of January for a cycle, 2 weeks, is to go through your IPE paper, listen to this feedback, look at some of the things on screen and read anything you need to. You'll have this PowerPoint available to you as well, and complete your MRI. You've also been given a set of questions that you must complete again, and they are personal to you, Huckle, and I have chosen them for you specifically. So in that 2 weeks, you must complete those questions again using this feedback in full. Now, the only way you're going to get the most out of this feedback is if you are not lazy with it. And by that, I mean actually listen to what I'm saying and actually read what's on the screen. I'm not going to do it for you. Mr. Huckle and I have spent most of our Christmas either marking your IPAs or making feedback for you because you will not be in school for the week of the 4th of January. So please use it. On screen now for you is the 3 topics of your physical IPE paper. So they were tectonics, coasts, and water. You can see the respective marks for each of those topics and the respective questions within each of those topics. And the way this is structured for me is that on the screen for every question will be a sample answer and the marks that answer achieved. There will also be a list of content to include in the question when you answer it, and there will be some examiner comments on the sample answer. So the first section of your exam paper is the shortest, and that was tectonic processes and hazards. So the first question, question 1A, was all statistical, and I was surprised by how many of you did not get these correct. These are very simple statistical calculations, so you need to make sure that you do get them correct in future because this probably will come up again. So you were given the resource on the right here, and you were asked to study that resource and calculate, first of all, the mean number of deaths recorded. So the deaths recorded are all here on the right, and you need to calculate the mean number. And in fact, you didn't even need to add them all up yourself because they did it for you. And they also told you how many events there were. So this is the easiest of easy mean questions. Mean means the average. So all you do is that 988 divided by 10. So mean means add them all up, divide by the amount there are. And the answer therefore is 98.8. Part 2 was calculate the median number of deaths recorded. So remember, the median means the middle number. So that means you have to order the numbers from lowest to highest and then cancel each end of that order out until you are left with one number. Okay. Now, in this case, you were not left with one number because the 2 middle numbers were 10 and 12. So when that's the case, you cannot cancel out 10 and 12 because then you're left with nothing. When that's the case, all you do is you get the middle of 10 and 12. So what's in between 10 and 12? And that is, of course, 11. So the answer was 11. A lot of you wrote 10 or 12. It can't be either of those because they are not the middle value, okay? They are the 2 middle values. You need to get the middle of those. So the median was 11. And the third part of this calculation question was calculate the interquartile range for the number of deaths recorded, and you must show your working here. So you cannot just write down a number. So it's 2 marks, 1 mark for the working being correct and 1 mark for the answer being correct. So the interquartile range requires you to order the numbers, find the median. So you've already done that, that was 11. But then you've got to find the median again for both of the halves. So if 11's in the middle, you've got to find the median for what's above that and what's below it. These are the interquartile ranges, but then you have to finally subtract the highest interquartile range from the lowest interquartile range. So what does that look like? So I've ordered the numbers on screen for you now. And remember, the overall median was 11. I've then got to find the median of this top set of numbers and the median of the bottom set of numbers. So The median of the top set of interquartile range 1 was 3. That's the middle number between 1, 2, 3, 8, and 10. And then the median, or the middle number between 12, 26, 156, 170, and 600 was, of course, 156. Now, what you do with that is this. You take away 3 from 156, and the range then, the interquartile range, or the range between the highest quartile and the lowest, is 153. So that is how you complete the interquartile range. Please do go over this numerous times if you need to. This will more than likely be asked in your exam paper. It might not be in hazards, but it will be somewhere. And it's an easy 2 marks you don't want to miss out on. That's question 1A complete. Final question in hazards, it is such a short section, is question 1B. And this is your 12-mark question, and it will always be 12 marks in hazards. So the answer on screen for you is a sample answer, and this achieved 9 marks out of 12. So I'm going to run through really briefly what's in this answer, but you need to go and read it yourself as well. So this answer says that effective management of hazards relies on really strong governance, nationally and locally, and it relies on therefore reducing the impacts even with a more intense event. It also says that the economy is important, so wealth is important. It uses the example of Iran as an earthquake example. It also uses the example of Japan in terms of education for people and what to do for tectonic hazards. But it then argued that lack of funds is a problem. For example, in Sichuan in China, there was bad infrastructure. It also says that the Philippines has had experience of limited governance and trying to balance all the impacts. And therefore, overall, it concludes by saying that it's a range of human and physical factors that influence effective management. So that is why the impacts vary. Now, that got 9 marks out of 12. Pretty good answer. So what it did well was it demonstrated effective management of hazards throughout the answer and knowledge. It's coherent, uses good information and examples, and also is balanced and coherent. What it needed to do to improve to get to the 12 spot was if the candidate outlined how they were to assess effectiveness. So lives saved, lost, or cost, or both. In other words, this answer does not say, well, we assess how effective managing hazards are by looking at lives lost, and injuries, and homes lost, etc. So I've written a list for you, in addition to that, of things to include. So remember, how we actually assess effectiveness. What is it that we're looking for to say how effective a hazard is or is not? But we're also looking for governance difficulties, wealth and development variations. You can use Haiti and Sichuan and Effietlioko if you want to. You can use the hazard management cycle. That's really important. That's a good foundation of knowledge you can use in here. And the hazard management cycle, of course, is something that wealthier countries follow better than poorer ones. So you can link that to wealth. What assesses effectiveness? As I said, is it lives saved or lives lost, or is it the cost of it, or both? And remember, finally, as this answer has done really well for 9 marks, peel the answer. What's most important, what's somewhat important, and what is least important in the reasons for managing impacts of tectonic hazards. So that is the tectonic section of your IPE paper and the MRI you need to be able to redo any of those questions if you have been requested to do so. Please do spend your time on it. PowerPoint will be available to you as well, so you can open it up. If you've got any questions that are not obviously on the screen and you are not sure about, then please do email me, but do not email me if you've got a question that has already been answered in this, because I will get annoyed that you have not been listening. The next video for your IPE will be feedback on coastal landscapes. So you can click straight over to that after you've finished with going through the tectonic section.